The governor-elect says the results of an extraordinary session may require an extraordinary response. We will explain coming up.
And there's a protest plan today demanding answers from the Department of Corrections about inmate deaths.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to News 3 This Morning. It is 6 o'clock now on this Thursday, December 6th. And ladies, I'm still not over this color scheme.
I know. Unintentional. Unintentional.
So left out.
Walked in this morning, I thought, nice choice, Danica.
I didn't get that comment.
It starts to get creepy, though, when you show up in the same exact color. But
yeah, a little bit weird.
I guess Thursdays we wear blue, huh?
We must.
I guess so.
You can't sit with us.
No. Next time, try and play along, Leah. No.
Gosh, I'm
Again,
alone.
not intentional. We did not mean to count you out. We
It's okay, stay.
We match your radar a little bit, unfortunately.
Yeah. It is cold, and the temperatures are very cold this morning. Some of the coldest air of the season is moving in today, so be aware of that. But I'm optimistic for at least a little bit of sunshine. Take a look at that clearing trend that's taking place right around the Dells back towards La Crosse. That'll work its way into southern Wisconsin this morning. The bad news is there's another deck of low clouds to the north, and we'll likely experience that through the afternoon. So variably cloudy skies today. Here's what it currently feels like. Ooh, we're down. Last hour it felt like 12. Now we're down to 9 here in Madison and the Dells. 14 is the wind chill in Mineral Point. Janesville's a little bit milder with a wind chill of 20. Temperatures over the next 12 hours will continue to fall this morning back into the low 20s, and then we'll hover in the low 20s right through the afternoon. Here's a look at your first alert traffic maps this morning. Things have been pretty quiet so far on the roads, and it looks like that trend continues right now. Just a few brake lights showing up on the belt line around Stoughton Road and a few at the Verona Road interchange as well. Otherwise, no accidents in the area to report right now, so you're still traveling at posted speeds as you head into Madison.
Wind chill is not exactly the phrase I like waking up to.
Yeah, no, you might just want to warm up the car a little bit.
Good idea. All right. Thank you, Hattie.
You're welcome.
We want to start this morning at the state capitol, where we are waiting to see when and if Governor Scott Walker will sign the bills passed as part of a marathon extraordinary session. You may remember that session lasted well into the morning hours yesterday. Governor-elect Tony Evers is calling on Governor Walker to veto those pieces of legislation, particularly the one that would strip powers from the governor and the attorney general. The bills on Walker's desk would prevent Evers from interfering with a federal approval process for Medicaid work requirements here in Wisconsin. They would also limit his control over the state's Economic Development Board for his first 8 months in office. Now, Republican lawmakers argue the measures will ensure the legislature is on equal footing with the Democratic governor-elect, but Evers and his Attorney General Josh Kaul continue to call it a power grab and say they will consider legal action if Walker signs these bills into law.
The will of the people has been officially been ignored by the legislature. I do believe that Wisconsin should be embarrassed by this activity.
And this is what's so frustrating to me, that while many in the media have really tried to make this into some kind of a power grab, that is absolutely not what it is. We have tried very hard to make sure that we are trying to level the playing field.
So you just heard from Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos. He says Democrats have the right to go to court on this issue, but he is confident the bills are constitutional.
Today, the Department of Corrections is talking about the number of inmates, particularly young people, dying in Wisconsin prisons. Dane County's jail has dealt with that problem in recent years. Last August, it counted an unprecedented number of suicide attempts, 5 in just that month. Meanwhile, a protest is being organized for outside of today's meeting. Organizers say they want more transparency and accountability from the DOC. Family members of 2 prisoners who have died since September are also planning to share their stories. They'll be at the DOC offices on East Washington Avenue at 10 this morning. One of the world's leading researchers on investigative interviews is going to be talking with city leaders today about police reports. Dr. Ron Fisher is the creator of a psychologically based technique to draw out more detail from a witness's memory. He's trained investigators at all levels of law enforcement, including the FBI. Today, Dr. Fisher will be calling into the committee that's in charge of police policy here in Madison to talk about the research behind officer statements following a serious incident. That committee is also going to talk about how to make sure police are offering their statements before they leave for the day.
6:04 right now. A group of Madison city leaders will meet for the first time since the city officially swapped spots for the permanent public market back to the original location.
Yeah, that decision is expected to save money, but there's concern that location could mean fewer visitors. Our Christina Laurie is live on the east side this morning with more. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, ladies. Madison city leaders say the design of the new public market set to be built here at the intersection of First Street and East Johnson, completed by 2021, will be so beautiful it belongs on a postcard. We're learning more about the future of the market this week after the city announced the project will move back to its originally planned location as a retrofit of the city-owned Fleet Services building. Because of that cost-cutting move, the city will now have additional money to invest in the building's design, which they say will be iconic. Alder Amanda Hall, who represents Madison's 3rd District, acknowledged that one of the best features of the previous site was its location on East Washington, visible by 10,000 drivers every day. But she's confident that this location will still draw crowds as it becomes a regional attraction.
In the day and age of Google Maps and everything like that, just because something isn't visible right on the main drag doesn't mean that folks aren't going to know about it and know exactly where it is.
Right now, the Fleet Services building acts as the city's garage and auto repair center. Its facilities have been scheduled for updates for years now, but they will finally get those updates when construction begins on this new public market starting in the year 2020, with the market expected to open again in the year 2021. So we're only 3 years away. This project has been in the works since 2013, so people are very excited for it.
And if you want to voice that excitement or any opinions that you have about the market, there's a committee meeting tonight over at the Madison Municipal Building that starts at 5 o'clock. All right, Christina Laurie reporting from the east side this morning. Thank you, Christina.
6:06 your time now. There is a Portage girl who wants to set a new world record for the most amount of pop tabs collected for the 2nd time.
This is a really cool story. Mercedes Alves tried to break the record last year, but she didn't have enough volunteers to count the tabs. So this year, she's trying again. She started collecting in September. Already, she has 1.4 million tabs, folks. The world record, though, is 2.8 million.
My new goal is 7 million.
Your new goal is 7 million? That's a lot. You think you can do it? Yeah, for Gunner, right?
Yep.
So you kind of heard it there, but what makes this even more special is why Mercedes is doing it. Her brother Gunner died in a car accident in 2014. While he was in the hospital, the family stayed at Ronald McDonald House, and that's where these tabs are going. If you'd like to donate or help volunteer to count some of Mercedes' tabs, that's happening next August, by the way. You can reach out to her dad on her Facebook page, Mercedes Mission. You can find that link over on our website, channel3000.com.
What an incredible mission, and by such a young girl.
Yeah, she's got a lot of sass, too. So if you haven't seen Jamie's story on this little girl, it's really fun to watch and will make you want to help.
You definitely want to check it out.
Yeah.
All right, 6:07 your time now. Speaking of families helped by the Ronald McDonald House, there's an effort to make families feel more at home when their child has to stay at the hospital for cancer treatments. We'll tell you about the story behind some beautiful quilts going to some very deserving people.
I say bring on the blankets, whatever ones you've got, because
Yes.
it's going to be pretty chilly today and really cold tonight. Hattie will share the details and tell us when things might warm up a little bit around here when News 3 This Morning continues.
Good morning from the News 3 First Alert Weather Center this morning.
Yeah,
it is pretty
clearly.
cold outside. Take a look at the high temperatures, though, that we had yesterday. We were in the 30s. Hope you enjoyed those relatively mild conditions because it is going to cool down in a big way for the rest of the week. An alert day has been added to the forecast for Friday. Morning wind chills tomorrow morning will be in the single digits below zero. High temperatures are only expected to reach the teens. Now, we're not dealing with a lot of precipitation this morning. There was a chance for a few flurries, and we're seeing a little bit of that north and east of Madison. Overall, though, things are pretty quiet around here. There is hope for a little bit of sunshine today. A break in the cloud cover has developed across parts of southern Wisconsin, right around the Dells, back towards La Crosse. And that break in the clouds will work its way through the area. So a little bit of sunshine early. Unfortunately, more clouds to the north and west will likely impact the area for the afternoon. Temperatures across the region are pretty cold. 1 below now in Fargo, 20 in Minneapolis. We've dropped to 22 here in Madison, so we're still falling. Janesville's now down to 28. Platteville's at 25, and the Dells, you've dropped another degree to 18. Northwesterly winds are in effect this morning, anywhere from 10 to 20 miles an hour, making it feel like it's in the single digits and teens across southern Wisconsin. Wind chills over the next 12 hours show you that we're not really going to improve much. Temperatures will hold steady today, and wind chills will hover right around 10 degrees. Future Track is picking up on that chance for some sunshine this morning, so enjoy it, even though it's probably going to be pretty short-lived. After lunchtime, clouds move back into the area and temperatures hold steady in the lower 20s. We are going to drop tonight, though, as clouds really start to clear out of the area. Drier air works its way in, and we'll start likely in the single digits tomorrow morning. Again, keep in mind wind chills will be even colder. Tomorrow is an alert day for the coldest air of the season so far. Be aware of that. High temperatures will only be at 18 degrees. Sunshine, though, is finally back in the forecast through the weekend, and it looks like we take a slow warming trend into next week. There will be a chance for some rain and snow developing on Wednesday with highs in the mid-30s, changing over to a chance for snow on Thursday with high temperatures back around the freezing point. Now let's get a look at your First Alert traffic maps this morning with Josh Tim. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, good morning. It is looking good on the Beltline so far for the early commuters. No delays showing up yet in either direction. Other roads here in Dane County moving well so far. Just a few brake lights on Verona Road approaching the Beltline. Everything moving well downtown around the Capitol Square and UW campus. Volume isn't a factor at this point. And other main routes heading into Madison, they're cruising along at the usual speeds with no major crashes or delays. Your First Alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh, and thank you, Hattie. The time right now is 6:14, and it is hard enough to have a kid stay in the hospital for a long-term stay, but not being able to go back home afterwards can make that even more difficult.
And to help with that, there are 100 handmade quilts going out to sick kids and their families staying at Madison's Ronald McDonald House. To tell us more about the reason behind this effort, we are joined this morning by the director, Kevin Huddleston, and quilt maker, Sandy Sweeney. Thanks so much for waking up and joining us this morning.
Thank you for having us.
Sandy, let's start with you. I know this incredible story all starts with a loss. Tell us a little bit about your friend Anne.
Anne is, she's very huge in the Madison area. She was a teacher. She had her own quilting business, long arm quilting. And she was just such a wonderful person. She went out to visit her daughter in Australia to have her first grandchild. And 2 days after the baby was born, her and her husband were killed in a car crash. And then Laura, the daughter, was taken care of very well in Australia from Ronald McDonald House. And so she requested that we do a project in honor of Anne and Rusty and do quilts to Ronald McDonald House. We originally started with 30 kits, and we've gotten over 100 now.
Wow. Wow, that's awesome. 3 times. I mean, that's incredible.
Yep.
That is incredible.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity, have you been over to the Ronald McDonald House to deliver these, Sandy? And
it's going to be Saturday.
It's going to be Saturday.
Great. It's coming up.
My goodness. So as far as the Ronald McDonald House, just for people that don't know what they do and maybe, you know what, even better, when you heard 100 quilts were coming your way, how did that make you feel?
Oh, we were just blown away. We were just blown away. It's a wonderful gift because people come to the Ronald House because they're traveling to Madison or whatever respective city they're going to from a certain distance to have their child treated for something, whether it's a surgery or it's cancer or something else or some emergency that took place. And what we do is we provide that home away from home that they need. cost-free, all the amenities they could possibly need. And for as long as they need it, until their child's ready to go home. And so we've had families stay for a night, we've had families stay for months at the house. So it's really interesting because there are 365 houses around the world. And so I actually know a couple of the executive directors from Australia, and we had a family from Australia to stay at the house a number of times at our house. But anyway, I will say this, that one of the things that we do is we do give away blankets. And so there are groups that make blankets, whether it's the ones that they tie the little, you know, the fringes.
Sure. Right.
Rarely do we see quilts, okay? And, but I will say this, when a family comes in, they're totally shell-shocked. Nobody ever expected to have to be in the Ronald McDonald House. Nobody expected their kid to be in the hospital.
Right.
And there's something, these blankets, they fly off the shelf. There's something about a blanket. I still have quilts and blankets my grandmothers made. Both of my grandmothers made. I cherish them. Something about a blanket that's very comforting, and it's just special. It kind of takes your mind off of the situation that you're in. So this is a tremendous gift because these are, I mean, these are handmade.
Here, let me see that one actually.
I mean, with love.
And you can still ask Sandy maybe another question while we're unveiling this one. This is just beautiful.
Sandy, looking at these, what do you think Anne would think about the fact that you got 100 of these handmade?
Yep.
What do you think she would think?
Oh, she's smiling from heaven. She is just overjoyed.
Yeah.
That these are going. These actually are her fabrics that you're holding right there.
Boy, those are really bright.
Yep.
Beautiful.
We got all that out of her stash.
That's gorgeous.
Oh yeah, so tell us a little bit about this. This is all of her fabric, correct?
We went over to the house when Laura was getting ready to get it for sale and stuff, and she said, take everything for the fabrics and stuff and use them. So we did. Those are her fabrics.
These are beautiful. Yeah.
Well, and just paying it forward, that's what it's all about.
Oh my gosh, and these are just lovely. And you should see the faces of the kids and even their parents.
Oh, I'm sure.
When we give them a blanket, there's just, like I said, there's something really special about
And this will be a really special one for some young child.
Some little boy will be happy.
Yeah. This is a wonderful gift.
Yeah.
Wonderful
gift. Well, thank you both for what you do, and thank you for coming on this morning and sharing these beautiful, beautiful blankets. We appreciate it. And good luck. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. So your time right now is 6:18, and Hattie is often schooling me on the mentality of people living in Scandinavia, where it's pretty much cold always. There's just a mindset about sucking it up, throwing on the right clothes, and just going outside. And I think we need to pay attention to that even more. We'll share the latest research encouraging us to soak in the sun all times of the year.
Speaking of that, there will be plenty of sun over the next few days. Hattie has an update on the clear but cold weather settling in when News 3 This Morning continues.
Good morning. I'm meteorologist Hattie McLean from the News 3 First Alert Weather Center. It's going to be a cold day at the bus stop today. Take a look at current conditions across southern Wisconsin. We have temperatures that are in the low 20s right now dropping to 22 here in Madison. Temps are in the teens, though, to the north. That's only half the story. When you factor in a northwesterly wind this morning, here's what it feels like outside. Right around 10 degrees this morning. Wind chill is not going to improve at all through the day, so bundle up as you head out the door. Your bus stop weather forecast calls for a little bit of sunshine through the middle part of the day. Temperatures, though, holding steady right around 20 degrees. Stay warm today.
All right. Thank you so much, Hattie. A 2009 requirement for medical schools to increase diversity seems to be helping, but some say not quickly enough. Wisconsin Public Radio reports those rules were put in place by the group that accredits medical schools, requiring them to actively recruit and retain more diverse students. A new study shows the number of African-American med students did go up half a percentage point from 2002 to 2017. The largest increases in that time frame were for Hispanic and Asian students, each seeing about a 4% increase. Some experts say there's a need for a more long-lasting program that helps minority students feel more welcome in medical school. 6:23 your time right now. As the temperature continues to dip this week, it can be really tempting to stay inside on the couch after work, maybe even for the whole weekend.
Yeah. It's
That's
already
us.
tempting, but the latest research stresses there is no such thing as bad weather, just bad clothing choices. A lack of sunlight can affect circadian rhythms and throw off your sleep pattern. Not seeing the sun can also impact your serotonin and dopamine levels, hormones that can be linked to depression. This can be as simple as just getting out and taking a walk. A study from the University of Rochester shows being out in nature for just 20 minutes a day can boost energy levels. And if you're really adamant about staying indoors, doctors recommend finding some creative outlets, maybe inviting some friends over, or even doing chores. I don't know about that recommendation.
I think we all need to take a leaf out of Chris Reese's book. Get out there and make some snow angels.
If
Enjoy
there's
it.
snow out, but
Embrace
yeah,
it.
I think it's almost harder when there's no snow out and it's just cold. So yeah, you just
Some
gotta
dead leaf angels.
got it. Nice.
Yeah.
Just got to layer up and find something out there to do again. 20-minute walk, not too difficult. So
No, it's not. Put it
All
into
right.
your schedule.
Yeah.
All right, 6:24 your time now. The Board of Regents for all UW schools will consider paying professors and staff more over the next couple of years. We're going to look ahead to that conversation.
And following tips between the firefighters union and the city, Janesville leaders are working today to find a new fire chief. The details are straight ahead on News 3 this morning.
The Board of Regents is taking up proposals to increase some students' tuition and some professors' paychecks.
Iconic, dynamic, and a regional destination. Those are some of the phrases city leaders are using to describe the new public market, rather, what they're now weighing in on that they're asking for your help with.
This is News 3 This Morning.
Good morning and welcome to the final half hour of News 3 This Morning. It's 6:28 now on this Thursday, December 6th. And unfortunately, the wind chill out there right now, not a lot higher than 6. I think Hattie said like 8.
Yeah, something like that. I know tonight is going to be even colder, so maybe this is just a little bit of a warm-up as we head into the cool down. Let's check in with Hads now with a look at that forecast. Hi, Hattie.
Good morning. It's definitely feeling cold outside this morning. Temperatures have been dropping for the last couple of hours. We're now down in the low 20s. Take a live look from the WISC-TV Skycam. There is a little hole in the clouds, though, across the western part of Madison this morning. There is some hope for some sunshine early today. However, it's going to be a little deceiving. Wind chills are in the double digits, but barely in some spots. It feels like 11 here in Madison and Lone Rock, 14 in Platteville. Feels like 7, though, in Camp Douglas. So as you head out the door, consider this. Temperatures will hold nearly steady in the low 20s today. Wind chills will be right around 10, even into the afternoon. So bundle up. Your First Alert traffic maps this morning will show you what's happening on the roads. Still a little early to see any volume issues, and things look pretty quiet. A lot of green on that traffic map. No accidents around the area, so you're still heading at driving at posted speeds as you head into Madison. And that's your First Alert traffic.
All right, Hattie, thank you so much. Starting today, the UW System Board of Regents will consider raising tuition for certain students and raising pay for faculty and staff. It's the start of a 2-day meeting for the board in La Crosse, where Governor-elect Tony Evers is listed as a possible speaker. Today, a committee will look at a proposal to increase tuition for undergrads at UW-Madison who are not from either Minnesota or Wisconsin. That increase would come out to about $820 over the next couple of years, generating an estimated $16 million. Another group of regents will consider a 6% pay increase for faculty and staff across the entire system. That raise would happen over the next 2 years. It would have to be approved, though, by the state legislature because the system's asking the state to cover the entire cost of that salary increase. The full Board of Regents will vote on the issues tomorrow. They'll also go into closed session today to talk about the lawsuit the UW-Oshkosh Foundation has filed against the UW system. The school is suing for $18.5 million, alleging it did not get backup loans it was promised for projects like an alumni welcome center and a convention center on campus. That situation also led to the nonprofit filing for bankruptcy and the Board of Regents suing members of the foundation's board of directors.
Today, education leaders in the state plan to make it easier for military spouses to get their teaching license here in Wisconsin. The Department of Public Instruction is talking about a new proposal that would allow military spouses moving to Wisconsin to get their license if they already have one in another state. The military would have to order the state to grant those teaching licenses in those cases. There's a public hearing to learn more about the idea today at the DPI's headquarters starting at 10:30.
6:31 right now, and just days after the city announced it was switching locations for the permanent public market here, a group of Madison alders will talk about that move tonight.
Yeah, the old space gets a lot more traffic, so there are some concerns about getting crowds to a location that's more off the beaten path. Christina Laurie is live on the east side to explain. Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, ladies. Recent changes to the public markets plans have triggered concerns about the project's cost, visibility, and timeline. The project was moved back here to the market's originally planned location in the Fleet Services building on East Johnson and 1st Street, and it will save the city some money, but it will also make the project less visible than if it were situated on East Washington, passed by tens of thousands of cars every day. Now the market will still be visible from East Washington, and alders say less work will have to be done as a result of that move because the building the market will be housed in already exists. Now it's up to them to use the $13 million the city has already budgeted for the project to transform this old structure into a modern destination.
One of the important points about this public market is that it will be a regional attraction for folks not only in Madison, but from around the state and around the region. So without that particular space, we are going to have to create an extremely dynamic and eye-catching design, something iconic, something that you would see on a postcard.
In addition to saving the city money, city officials say this fleet services location is optimal in terms of less traffic, more parking, and green space. Additional housing, a hotel, and some retail space are all on track to be built here as well. Construction is set to begin in 2020, with the project scheduled to be complete in the year 2021.
All right, yeah, this has been in the works
long
now
time coming,
since,
yeah.
what, 2013?
Something like that.
All right, and they're going to be talking about the market at that meeting we mentioned tonight. You can check it out for yourself at the Madison Municipal Building. That starts at 5 o'clock. Thanks, Christina.
Your time right now is 6:33, and Janesville's Police and Fire Commission will meet today to narrow down the list of candidates to become the city's next fire chief. Former Chief Randy Banker announced his retirement back in September, a move he says is not related to the ongoing dispute between the fire union and the city. The union filed a complaint over contract negotiations in September as well, saying the city threatened to increase health insurance costs by 400%. Now, the Janesville Gazette reports the city received more than 30 applications for the chief position. Members of the Police and Fire Commission tell the paper they don't have a set number of finalists in mind, but they do want to move quickly. Banker's retirement is scheduled to take effect on January 11th.
It should be a little easier to find parking on the Isthmus near that rapidly growing area along East Washington Avenue. The city of Madison says the new parking garage on South Livingston Street next to the Sylvie is now fully open to the public. There are still some finishing touches for construction crews to get to, but the 650-stall garage is now open 24/7. The 5-level garage is going to also include a B-cycle station and electric vehicle charging stations. It also features the lowest charge of any of the downtown parking garages at 80 cents an hour.
There's a new restaurant coming to Monroe Street soon. The Isthmus reports June, spelled Joon, by the way, will take the place of the now closed Burritos restaurant across from the Trader Joe's there. The owner of that new Persian-Iranian restaurant told the weekly paper that June means life in Farsi. It's also used as a term of endearment. The grand opening happens on New Year's Day.
All right, 6:35 your time now. We are talking about super cold temperatures and wind chills. Hattie does have an alert day to talk about, but there's no purple rain on the radar.
It's funny that you mentioned that because you have to, if you have a music enthusiast on your gift list, they can pretend they're rocking out on First Avenue with a sweet new 6-string. It's not a little red Corvette, but it shows I will care for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, I'm done with the Prince puns until News 3 This Morning returns. Welcome back. We always ask you to share your morning with us, and Gwen posted this one over on Facebook. This is just a gorgeous flashback to fall.
Oh
my goodness. It wasn't very long that the color was this vibrant, so good on Gwen for getting out and getting the shot.
I don't even think there were a couple of weeks with color. It had to be just a couple of days.
Yeah, it felt like fall went by in a flash for sure.
You know what, Gwen? I especially appreciate that, especially since we have wind chills in the forecast right now.
Yep.
Let's take a minute and think about fall. Thanks so much for sharing this. What does your morning look like? Take a picture, post it on our Facebook page or on Twitter, and use the hashtag MyNews3Morning. Danica and I share our favorites every morning right here on the program. So lots of us are familiar with the smash hit song and movie Purple Rain, but you might not know a Minnesota man is responsible for creating that iconic guitar Prince uses in the film.
Yeah, his name is Dave Rusin, and back in the 80s, the pop icon stopped in Rusin's guitar shop in Minneapolis, liked his work, and requested a unique guitar for the movie. Then when Prince died in 2016, Rusin saw a surge in people wanting to buy replicas of the well-known so-called cloud guitar. So he got it trademarked back in February. Now, though, Prince's estate is suing Rusin over the design, asking him to stop making it. Rusin says the guitars are not just his joy in life, but also his livelihood. He makes about $8,000 for each one that he sells, and he does not want this to turn into a legal battle.
A guitar so beautiful it would make doves cry.
Nice.
I stole that from our producer. And did you know Walt Disney grew up just a few hours away from us in Chicago? Yesterday would have marked his 117th birthday. To celebrate, there was a ribbon cutting at his childhood home that's been stripped down and renovated over the past 5 years. A couple heard the home had been converted to a duplex and was in bad condition, so they worked to restore it back to how it used to be when Walt and his 4 siblings were living there. His father had built that home, and his mother helped design it. A donation by the Walt Disney Company made all of those renovations possible.
That's really cool.
I do love that. Little saving of history there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, 6:40 right now. We have really cold temperatures, particularly overnight. Maybe we're just being babies about December weather, but Hattie is saying it feels more like February, so maybe we have an excuse?
Maybe.
Regardless, Hattie's forecast is up next.
But first, if you have a little kiddo turning 3 soon, please let us know so we can show their picture on TV. Thanks for watching News 3 This Morning. Fees went up for the first time in years. The city is looking ahead to what changes might need to be made to keep its golf courses running next year. You might remember last year, Madison considered shutting down tees at Yahara Hills or Monona and opening up all of its courses for big events to help address a budget shortfall. Golfers paid an extra $2 per round this year compared to 2017 and another $140 for a season pass. There are no rate increases expected next year, but we're going to learn more about other proposed changes at a city meeting tonight.
Speaking of getting outside next year, I know firsthand how great of a gift this is for the holidays. State park passes for 2019 are on sale. That includes both annual admission stickers and state trail passes. The $28 sticker gets you into more than 60 state parks and forests across Wisconsin for the entire year. The trail pass is $25. It's for anyone 16 and up who wants to ride a bike, skate, or ski on marked state trails. You can pick those up at park facilities and DNR service centers across the state. I'm not sure if those sand cranes will be ready for the temperatures coming our way, Hads. I tell you that much.
No, they're not. But the parks are beautiful even this time of the year. So I'd encourage you to get out and check out some of the parks. We have an alert day in the forecast, though, for tomorrow, mainly because wind chills will be below zero during the morning. Here's a look at forecast wind chills tomorrow morning right around 6 o'clock. High temperatures tomorrow as well will only be in the teens. So some of the coldest weather we've seen yet this season. High temperature trend, though, after that little bit of a dip for the end of the week is actually on a slow upward trend as we head into next week. Temps actually climb a little bit above normal towards the middle of next week. Not getting too out of hand, but it should feel a little milder. Now this morning we talked about the potential for a little bit of flurry activity with a cold front moving through. Some of those flurries are now just falling apart north and east of Madison. A batch of snow to our south will continue to rotate off to the east, so it's not going to bother us through the day today. No flight delays here being recorded at any of the major airports, and if we look at the country as a whole, things are actually looking pretty quiet right now. There is a possibility, though, from Arizona all the way into Texas for some major flight delays over the coming days. We're watching a storm system that has already moved on shore. It will continue to gain strength as it tracks across the desert corner, the Four Corners region of the United States and into Texas on Friday. Now on the northern side of this storm, there is the potential for some mix changing over to some snow, also some ice accumulation possible with this system. It tracks right across the southern tier of the United States. You'll see that things stay pretty quiet up in the Great Lakes region. So this is not going to be a weather maker for us, but it'll be a big weather maker for the southern part of the United States. Winter storm watches are already in effect for parts of New Mexico all the way into Arkansas and Missouri for this particular storm. Here's a look at our current conditions. 21 now in Madison. We're still dropping. Northwesterly winds at 9 send that wind chill down to 11 degrees. Here's a look at current temperatures. 21 in Watertown as well. The Dells are at 17. Still 25 in Mineral Point as well as Monroe this morning. Northwesterly winds, though, continue around 10 to 20 miles an hour through the day today. So that is going to make it feel a little colder. Current wind chills are in the low teens, and it looks like those wind chills are going to hover right around 10 through the day, so no big warm-ups in the forecast today. Pinpoint City forecast highs, in fact, show you that temperatures will stay in the low 20s many spots. Watertown and Fort Atkinson topping right around 21 degrees. As we look over to the west, we're looking at a high of 22 this afternoon in Prairie du Chien, 24 in Platteville, and to the north, 22 in Montello, 20 in Mauston. There may be a little bit of sunshine, however, we will see clouds for the afternoon. Here's a look at your extended forecast then. We have temperatures that will slowly warm through the weekend. I think the most important thing, though, is the sunshine. Finally tomorrow, some sunshine in the forecast. It will stick around as we head into next week. No major storms moving in this direction. Oh. Look at Jasper. Don't you just feel like this some mornings?
Hashtag mood.
Perfect.
All mornings.
Yes.
All mornings. And some of the afternoons.
I know, maybe all day, especially with this weather. Look at those cool stripes that he has, though.
Jasper is my
spirit
animal.
I think it's the light coming in from...
Maybe you're right.
Sorry,
I
I just
stripes.
I know, I just ruined your tiger cat dreams right there.
Oh, like, that's awesome.
Oh, Jasper,
Cute
you're still
patootie, but
cute.
yes,
Anyway,
absolutely.
He's not bothered by any of it.
Yeah, he's fine. Doesn't care. Thank you, Addie.
You're welcome.
Morning Sprint's coming up next right here on News 3 This Morning. It is almost 6:52. Time now for the morning sprint. Hattie's overnight lows mean we are calling for an alert day in the forecast.
And Christina Laurie is talking about the new location for Madison's public market and how the city plans to attract visitors, even though it's less visible. But we start at the Capitol, where we're waiting to see when or if Governor Walker will sign the bills passed as part of a marathon extraordinary session. Governor-elect Tony Evers is calling on Governor Walker to veto those pieces of legislation, particularly the one that would strip powers from the governor and attorney general. Republican Assembly Speaker Robin Vos says Democrats do have the right to go to court on this issue, but he's confident those bills are constitutional.
The State Department of Corrections is talking today about the number of inmates, particularly young inmates, dying in Wisconsin's prisons. A protest is planned outside of that meeting this morning, where people will be calling for more transparency and accountability from the Department of Corrections. Dane County is one of the many places dealing with some of these issues. The jail here had an unprecedented number of suicide attempts in recent years.
A Madison-based brewery is asking for help from their neighbors and customers after someone broke in and stole thousands of dollars over the weekend. Rockhound Brewing on South Park Street is out nearly $10,000 in both cash and damages after that break-in Sunday morning. Rockhound has a GoFundMe page set up to help make up for some of those losses. We have that link up on channel3000.com.
A fired Salvation Army bell ringer is accused of trying to steal his collection pot. Officers say 57-year-old Kemple Garrett was volunteering as a bell ringer at Woodman's on Gammon Road before he took off with a donation kettle yesterday afternoon. The whole thing was caught on surveillance video and he was arrested nearby. Garrett now faces theft charges.
The Madison Public Market Development Committee will meet for the first time tonight since the long-planned project changed locations once again. The market was initially planned as a retrofit of the city-owned Fleet Services building on 1st Street and East Johnson. It was then moved to the Washington Plaza Shopping Center on East Washington and 1st Streets to make it more visible. But after cost concerns about that location, this week Mayor Soglin announced that once again the market would move back here to the Fleet Services building. At tonight's meeting, the committee will talk about potential designs for the new market, which is expected to open in 2021. That meeting starts at 5 o'clock at the Municipal Building.
And our forecast today starts on kind of a chilly note this morning. Here's a look at temperatures going into the afternoon. We'll hover in the low 20s. Northwesterly winds making it feel even colder. Tomorrow is an alert day. Wanted to give you a heads up that wind chills may be below zero tomorrow morning.
Thank you, Hattie. 2 people are dead after a semi-truck crashed into a school bus carrying a freshman girls basketball team overnight in Illinois. State Patrol there says the truck driver and a 72-year-old volunteer on the bus were both killed in that crash. 8 girls were injured, but they are expected to be okay. Police say the semi-truck was driving the wrong way on I-74 outside Bloomington when it crashed head-on with that bus.
The body, that is, of former President George H.W. Bush is back in his home state of Texas this morning ahead of his burial today. People lined up last night in Houston at the church where a second funeral service will be held this morning. At his funeral in Washington, D.C. yesterday, Bush was honored as a loving family man and a lifelong public servant. He'll be laid to rest next to his wife, Barbara, at the Presidential Library grounds at Texas A&M University.
Taxpayers have one more day to file returns or submit any taxes that were originally due yesterday. The IRS says that deadline was moved since all federal agencies were closed yesterday during the National Day of Mourning for President Bush's funeral. This one-day extension applies to any return that was supposed to be filed yesterday. That includes any federal tax payment, income, payroll, or excise tax deposit.
After being closed for the National Day of Mourning yesterday, Postal Service will start back up today. A reminder that if you want items to reach loved ones serving in the military by Christmas, letters, cards, and priority mail need to be sent no later than Tuesday. Express packages should go out by December 18th.
Starting today, UW's Board of Regents will consider raising tuition for undergrads at UW-Madison who aren't from Minnesota or Wisconsin. That increase would come out to about $800 over the next couple of years, generating an estimated $16 million. Another group of regents will consider a 6% pay increase for faculty and staff across the entire system. It would have to be approved by the legislature because the system's asking the state to cover the entire cost of that salary increase.
We expect a former Badger will start on the Packers defense on Sunday. The Packers announced yesterday they are claiming defensive back Natrell Jamerson off the waivers. The former Wisconsin player will replace cornerback Kevin King on the active roster. King was placed on injured reserve earlier this season. Jamerson was drafted by the New Orleans Saints in the 5th round this year. but before being released and joining the Houston Texans. Packers host the Falcons Sunday at noon.
Almost 6:57 your time now. Let's turn it over to Josh Tim with a look at your first alert traffic. Good morning, Josh.
Yeah, no problems at all on the Beltline right now, but look for that westbound side to continue to get busier. Some brake lights showing up now between Stoughton Road and West Broadway. Should be delays within the next 10 minutes or so. Usual brake lights on inbound John Nolan near Rimrock, and then again at Olin Avenue. That's going to add a couple minutes heading into downtown. Other main routes, including the interstate, though, are moving well right now at the usual speeds and no major crashes or delays. Your first alert traffic, I'm Josh Tim.
Thank you, Josh.
And it is mostly cloudy across southern Wisconsin this morning, but to the north there is some clearing taking place. So hope for a little bit of sunshine through the mid-morning into the early afternoon. Clouds moving in then for the second part of the day. Temperatures will hold steady in the low 20s today. Wind chills will only be in the teens to single digits, right around 10 degrees. It is an alert day tomorrow for the coldest air of the season. Wind chills below 0 tomorrow morning.
All right, you heard it here, folks. Bundle up. We'll see you back here tomorrow morning. Have a good one.